Hi, Chad, here from beautiful, colorful Colorado. My question is about viability with that buyer. You say that they may not be viable if they haven't taken a lot of action to show that they're ready to move forward. So is that our responsibility to make them more viable, or are we just investing more energy in people that are already more viable buyers?
Oh man, what a great question. I think there's a misnomer here. So I think there's two parts. It's how much influence does a sales professional have in making them more viable? They can have some sort of effect in their viability as far as they can help educate them on, if it's a financing thing, they can help them educate on finance probabilities and possibilities. They can make them more viable by giving them advice if they have to sell their current home, how to sell the home. But I don't know if it's the salesperson has the ability to make them more viable. That's not really the salesperson's job, is to make people more viable. It's to help them realize their viability, help them uncover their viability. Because there's a lot of buyers. I think for a large majority of buyers don't understand how viable they are. They actually have themselves as a 1 on viability. The buyers have themselves as a 1. But I think that the idea is figuring out where they're viable. If some buyers know they're viable, they're going to move up the trail. They're going to come in and they're going to say, hey, I'm pre-approved, I'm this, I'm that, I already have my house picked out. Some people come in and they just don't know. They just don't understand, especially if you're dealing in a certain segment population where it's a first-time buyer or something. They just don't know what they don't know, and they don't know their viability. I'll give you a great example. I was young. I was 25. I guess that's not young, but I was 25. My wife and I were moving to Texas for her residency, and I was just starting my career. I was in hotels. I was moving into restaurants. My wife was just getting out of school, and so we were moving to Texas. And my wife said, "Well, I don't want to rent. Let's buy a house." And I was like, "There's no way we can buy a house, like because I had never even thought that owning a home was in my future." And so I had discredited the fact. I just assumed that I was always going to live in an apartment. I was always going to rent. It just didn't seem like home ownership was something that I was going to be able to do. Until we sat down and we talked to a mortgage lender, it seemed a little bit more viable. It was like, oh yeah, you can do this, and if you do this and this, and I said, okay, and but I don't know how this works. And then we went and met with the new home sales specialist in Texas, and I didn't know anything about home building back then. And the new home specialist made me aware of how easy it actually is to own a home. It was a lot easier in my mind when he laid it out to me than I thought it was in my mind. So I think the number one job of a sales professional is to help them realize how viable it is to own a home, how viable it is to own a new construction home. I think when people understand and they realize their viability, that's what we want. Now, they take actions to move up the viability scale, but I think that sometimes we have to help them realize viability more than help them become viable. That's my answer. Go see their viability this week.